It's StoryCub!
Hi, this is Lizzie, and I have a charming tale of misadventure. The Dog Detectives Lost in London by Finn and Zoa. Lost in London, what a place to be. So much to do, so much to see. History, mystery, and underground trains, giant red buses, and cobblestone lanes. Amid the whiz and the whir of the busy old streets, animals scurry, flutter, and sleep. The most famous of all are kept in a tower. 6 black ravens with mystical powers. There is a legend that says the ravens must stay, or the Tower of London will crumble and the kingdom decay. The 6 ravens were watching the sun set over London when a bat swooped down from above. "You look bored," he said. "Want to play hide and seek?" "That sounds fun," replied Thor, the loudest raven of all. "But we're not allowed to leave the tower." "Don't worry," said the bat. "I promise to find you all before bedtime. I'll start counting. 1, 2, 3. The next morning, the dog detectives, Detective Jack and Deputy Poco Loco, were a foxtrot away when... "Halt!" a police officer shouted. Detective Jack swerved and tumbled into a newspaper stand. "London is doomed," cried the officer. "We must find the ravens." "Fear not," said Detective Jack. "We'll have this case wrapped up in time for afternoon tea. You can bet your biscuits on it." They raced along the River Thames to the London Eye. "Top of the mornin' to ya," came a voice from the ticket desk. "I am the Rat Riddler, the eyes and ears of the city." "Do you know about the missing ravens?" asked Detective Jack. "Like a genie, I'll give you 3 clues," said the Rat Riddler. Clue number 1. I have a face and 2 hands, but cannot walk. I count to 12, but cannot talk. What am I? "A clock," said Detective Jack. "A clock has a face and 2 hands and counts to 12. "Your answer is right on time," said the Rat Riddler. They jumped on a bus and headed toward Big Ben, the biggest clock tower of all. The dog detectives looked up and found the first missing raven. "Now for clue number 2, said the Rat Riddler. "She wears a crown upon her head and falls asleep in a royal bed." "That's easy," said Deputy Poco Loco, wagging his tail. "The Queen wears a crown and sleeps in a royal bed." The team cycled to the gates of Buckingham Palace and spotted the second missing raven. "Smashing," said the Rat Riddler. "And now for my final clue. I wear bark, grow leaves, and shade parks. What am I?" "A tree wears bark, grows leaves, and shades parks," cried Deputy Poco Loco. The dog detectives pedaled full tilt through the parks of London until high in the treetops they saw the 3rd missing raven. "What better place to hide than Hyde Park?" said Detective Jack. Deputy Poco Loco scratched his ears. "If I were a raven, I'd hide somewhere busy and loud, to be hidden away in the bustling crowd." The team wormed their way through giant red buses and honking black cars. There, among the clatter and chatter of Trafalgar Square, was the 4th missing raven. "Well done, Deputy," said Detective Jack. "If I were a raven, I'd feel right at home, nestled high up in the roof of a dome." The team jumped back on their bikes and hot-dogged it to the biggest dome in the city. They ran up the steps of St. Paul's Cathedral and pushed open the heavy wooden doors. Blending into the magnificent dome was the 5th missing raven. The team circled the city in search of the final missing raven. They found bats beneath bridges, a spattering of sparrows, and a family of foxes, but no raven. Where was Thor, the loudest raven of all? "It's almost time for afternoon tea," said Detective Jack, rubbing his belly. "Could you please give us one more clue?" Well, I guess. I see, I do suppose, said the Rat Riddler. What's lost is right beneath your nose. The Tog detectives knew there was one place they hadn't searched. They whizzed down into the London Underground for a shortcut across the city.
Please mind the gap between the train and the platform.
There, waiting patiently at the Tower of London, was Thor, the last missing raven. Looks like I'm the winner of hide and seek, Thor said proudly. The Rat Riddler smiled. Sometimes the hardest thing to find is right under your nose. Well, now that London is safe and sound, said Detective Jack, here's a riddle for all of you. What starts with T and ends with a T and has tea in it? A teapot. The end. Can you think of any riddles? This has been The Dog Detectives Lost in London.
StoryCub believes there's no better way to get kids excited about reading than through the interaction between a parent and a child. If your child likes this story, then they'll love the experience of you sitting down and reading the book with them. You'll be glad you did.